This is a message from the 12th of 13. We came to the conclusion that he would rather make selfish art than serve the higher purpose. So when you hit replay, ask yourself these questions. Who are you really listening to? And where is the line between art and dark magic? Because that man had no idea.
Okie doke. Okie dokie, big and pokey. Hello, hello. Is it working? Does it sound quiet? It feels like it's quieter. That's weird. Why is it so quiet? Hello. 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 Hold on. Hello? Hello? That's not it. Hello? Higher? That sounds a bit better, I think. Maybe? I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully that does something. Alright, I think... Oh! That's too loud. Are you guys getting background noise now? Or are we good? Am I too loud? I was messing with my microphone a little bit because like it just sounded really quiet. Howdy doody, how do I sound, Trudy? Is it coming through okay? Or is there a bunch of background noise or anything? Hopefully we're good. Oh, we're good, awesome. Music's not too loud. Alright guys. Welcome to whatever the hell this is. I wanted to share with you guys some of the feedback, not comments, but like what I got from YouTube as far as like what I saw, how people like were, how the video was faring, right? And it's, I mean, it's pretty damn good. It's funny because like I don't think I've, percentage wise, I don't think I've had this high a average video duration for one with I know I had 3 different titles. I don't know, because I was using some dumb experimental thing that YouTube had there where like it would just test titles or something, and I was like, okay, and it told me to put 3 titles, and I'm like, fuck it, so I did. But what I see on here is schizoids need to take steps themselves, and yeah, there was like schizoids need to make an effort, schizoids take that risk, I think was like the other ones. I don't know, but yeah, it looks like that test is still running. But in any case, that's like the average view duration for that, like what was like what 12-minute video was like 5.5 minutes, which is crazy. Because I've never seen that. People just drop out within like the first, like on average it'll be a lot lower because you have just the people that watch it, and then the people that just like don't know what it is, click on it and just leave. So considering there was according to this like 370 people that watched it, that's, for my small channel thingy, like that's, I'm surprised. But I looked at the like to dislike ratio, and we're looking at about a 96% out of 30 something likes. So that means probably there's like 40 votes or more, like 30, no, actually a lot smaller. It was 36 likes. So the dislike ratio, I suck at math, but it's probably like 39 votes or something, or 40 votes. I don't know. Might be related to split accounts. I have no idea. Maybe. I have no idea how that works. But point is, just quickly, we had a lot of comments. This is probably a decent amount of comments, surprisingly. Not really. I kind of figured it, you know, some people, but this is honestly the most amount of comments from different individuals at like pretty decent length I've ever seen on almost any video, like only a few days after it's come out. Yeah, that's a lot of likes for a video with a few hundred views. Yeah, 36 likes with a 300 something video. Yeah. I'm just tripping out on it. And I thought there was going to be a little more division. And it doesn't look like there is, which is interesting. With the comments, like I said, there was like a lot of unique individual comments. And I was seeing people in here I'd never seen before, or haven't seen for a very long time, chiming in, which is kind of funny because that's kind of what I want. Yeah, but it wasn't like negative. It was mostly like, it was either positive. There was like 1 or 2 negative ones, and most of them were like, yeah, but like, but they were like, you know, like they weren't anything like where they were immediately fucking splitting on me and shit. So it was more like, yeah, but this, yeah, but that. And it was interesting to read because it made me think, oh man, I want to talk about this stuff, because a lot of the yeah, but I want to talk about the buts and kind of get into that a little bit. Let me see here. Yeah, but most of it was a positive feedback. And you know my audience, it's very niche. Nobody's going to sit through that if they're not interested in the topic or relate to the topic significantly. Like, nobody's going to upvote that. Why? Why would they? We know you're being genuine. Well, I'm always being genuine as much as I can humanly can. But apparently it really got across this time. But like I said, what I find interesting is I said, hey, y'all need to say stuff more, and like I had a few people that did, even if that maybe that wasn't the intent. Maybe just what I said was something they thought they wanted to. I don't know, whatever the reason is. I wish I got this much engagement in any topic or any video that I bring up about anything, but in the past, even the ones that I talk about, like schizoid stuff, it takes a long time before like numerous comments appear. But anyway, okay. I saw everything from, people that really didn't like it, and I mean, it seemed to have taken it kind of personally, to people that liked it, to people, like I said, that were kind of iffy. So let's talk. I know it was short, so that's why I did it short. That took a lot of work for me. I'm a rambler. So I say it, I think, in the very recording, but I had to do like 3-4 times because I kept wanting to keep it under the 15-minute mark. Like, because I always ramble and I lose track of time and shit. So I was like, all right, make it short for me and cover everything you need to cover and say most of what you need to say. And there's probably going to be questions, but that's what the comments are for. And I did answer some of those questions, but just in case there's people that still have more and don't like posting on YouTube comment, but don't mind posting in the chat, for any of you that watched it, and also it increases the chances that you guys watched it because it's short. It's not like a freaking hour-long ramble stream about something, though many of you enjoy that for sure. So what are your thoughts, complaints, praises, criticisms, nuanced criteria that I didn't quite meet or discuss? What was it lacking? What did you feel it was not being understanding enough about, so that I can go ahead and what's a word? Relieve you of your concern, hopefully. Though I won't make things up for that purpose, but I will try to be concise, and I will try to be straightforward, and I will also be very empathetic to some degree when it comes to much of this. Let's see here, Don. It ain't real research if you don't consider the data outside the consensus. That's just statistics. Like DSM BS, so good on you. I mean, that's kind of some of the feedback I was getting, not just in the comments. I got like a DM or two. I think somebody might have said something about like it on the server. I don't remember. I think so. Yeah. But point is, like, I hit some kind of spot for some people. And yeah, that's exactly what you just said there, Don, is important. Like, a lot of the stuff that I figured out, discussed with, experienced, gone back and forth with both the Zoids that are just like completely non-activated, completely, in like more like inactive, safe mode, right? The Zoids that are in safe mode, and the Zoids that like are working toward overcoming safe mode, and the ones that, busted their ass and are even going through the process of attempting to help others that have not done so, in whatever way is comfortable for them. So I've seen it all. I've talked about it all. And yeah, it doesn't match up. The literature does not match up. The therapeutic, psychological communities, discussions and ideas regarding, schizoid concerns, difficulties, therapeutic approaches, and everything else is all poo-poo caca right now. It's like stagnated. It had some, like, there's plenty of cool ideas, and it just sat there and stagnated and did nothing and sort of stopped. And there's a lot of reasons why. There's a lot of reasons, if you have questions about that as well, why it stagnated, why it kind of stopped. One of those reasons was actually brought up in one of the comments, which they compared, I don't know who it was, I don't care about bringing up usernames. One of the users that posted said that what I'm experiencing, this kind of being burnt out because, you're trying and nobody's doing anything, is what that's probably what the many therapists that have had schizoid clients have gone through, right? And I tried to clarify why it's very different, because oftentimes those, therapists that get tired of or give up on, someone that has this kind of schizoid disposition, and doesn't do anything about it, is because oftentimes what's being given to them, the tools that are being given to them, are like inappropriate. They're just not good fits. They're not taking into consideration the internal experience of that individual, and on top of that, they're not taking into consideration the varying aspects that person legitimately doesn't experience to the degree that most of their other clients do. Right. One example would be, the very oftentimes sort of muted emotional response they have to the external world when it interacts with them. Right. Whether positive or negative, it's oftentimes very muted. And even their internal world is oftentimes very kind of lacking sometimes in certain ways. Because that internal world in some ways is, for some, if they feel like it's stagnating too, especially as they get older. So yeah, go ahead, guys. Mark Passio is an extreme example of your type of frustration. If you know. I don't know that name. So what's up, guys? What do you want to know? What do you want to know about what I said? What do you want me to clarify? I want to beat the allegations. Let's beat the allegations together. Because I will answer any question, clarify anything regarding anything I said. And if I said something in a, poopy way or convoluted or whatever way, then I will explain. Winter, for example, encouragement from a therapist can be perceived as do what I tell you, which is bad for a schizoid to accept. Absolutely. But what's interesting, oftentimes I feel for a lot of schizoids, obviously taking orders or something, not going to happen very well, but just being given suggestions for things that they've either probably already thought about, attempted, and failed at, or they already understand that the reward mechanism associated with the advice they're being given is not one that's going to succeed. Right? Like it's kind of like a therapist telling a Zoid that the way they could improve their disposition toward people is to just get out there and go to social events and interact and experience stuff. It's like, no, that's definitely not the step you want to just go ahead and take, because part of the problem is that those experiences oftentimes led to a variety of situations that were either unrewarding, frustrating, exhausting, troubling, confusing, and things of that nature. So yes, that's not the approach. No, there needs to be far more set in place for that to even remotely function on any kind of level, without it just kind of entrenching the Zoid further. Yeah, because if that's the advice you give a Zoid, to get out there and interact in IRL social things, just go to your next family event, go to your friend's birthday party, and really try to really engage with people. Yeah, that's probably gonna make it worse. Let me see here. What are your UPG insights? UPG? I'm stupid. Explain. I owe you a big thanks for the introduction to tarot, Eleanor Greenberg interview. It led me to the Kabbalah and shit ton of validation of some of my UPG insights. Wait, what's UPG? I feel dumb right now. What's UPG? Yeah. I'd have to write a book working on it. Okay, but as far as, the tarot stuff, yeah. I talk about my approach toward tarot. I do tarot stuff myself, but I do it for, like, my reasons for it are more Jungian. It's more of a Jungian thing for me. approach for me. It's in many ways it's a lot. I would say it's a lot less conventionally spiritual or anything like that. I just know that I'm macro-associative, so thinking in symbols. Oh, you asked him, not you. Oh, did you at Winter when you said that? Am I dumb? Oh yeah, you did. Wait, yeah, you did. I'm dumb. Like, I'm a boomer. Sorry. Remember, I turned 41. But yeah, I use it as like kind of I know that symbols and kind of abstract symbols are like what works for me, because I'm more like the schizoid. You know, somebody asked, I think, or somebody said in a comment in another video, they said, "Are you a schizotypal schizoid?" Well, I'm not schizotypal. But I mean, I personally think what a lot of schizotypal people are macro-associative thinkers that kind of went off the rails. Due to trauma or cope or just managing or, you know, other difficulties, right? Like I could have definitely gone that way. But I didn't. So, for a variety of reasons. But no, like I can be very loose associative in my thinking and my connections, but I know how to, like, I know how to compartmentalize and control it and check and balance things. But yeah, that's where my thinking is often. But yeah, so as far as tarot goes, yeah, it's really useful for me because like it allows me to like make connections through symbol a lot easier between disparate things going on in my own life or in other stuff. Unverified personal gnosis. Is that like McKenna's felt presence of direct experience? I'm not sure what that means. I don't remember. I was typal-ish for a while. That was a bit cray-cray. Yeah, mine is Jungian too. Active imagination. I have. Oh yeah. Okay. Cool. So we're kind of like. By the way, Don, are you on the server already? Like, are you in the Zoid Void? Do you go by a different name? I don't know. I always forget. We gotta chat if that's the case. Oh man, my chat's not even up. Holy shit. This whole time. I'm all thinking, oh yeah, chat's up. Good. Okay, that should bring it up now. Right? There we go. Cool. I'm a silly guy. I feel like I could have landed schizotypal, but I landed schizoid. Like, I did have a lot of unconventional beliefs in childhood. Same, many. As I've told a lot of people, I used to stay up at night in my bed, legitimately thinking that every airplane I heard in the sky was a UFO that was going to finally take me away. And it was weird, and I thought like I had the ability to create like an energy around me to protect me. It was like a legitimate concern. It would keep me up at night. And of course, like, my parents didn't take it seriously because they thought, oh, it's just like the boogeyman, right? You're just afraid of the dark. I'm like, nah. So, you know, they didn't know, but yeah, could not get the support I needed on that one. So I was just a scared, frightened child that thought that like extra dimensional beings might come through the window. Let's see here. Yeah, and what's interesting is a lot of my unconventional beliefs were because I had a lot of questions as a child due to kind of this thinking, and those questions weren't answered, they weren't engaged with, so I had to kind of come up with my own conclusions. And some of those conclusions were more paranoid and scary in my head. Oh man, Don, we got to figure out how you can how we can do the tech. All right, buddy, we got to figure that one out because we got to have some. I want to have a discussion or two. How old are you, Don? What are you, in your 50s, 60s? You better not be in your 40s, otherwise you have no excuse because I'm 41 now. Haha. So we got to fix that. But if any of you have questions about what I said in that video or questions about just schizoid shit in general right now, yeah, hit me up. This is what I want to talk about today. Like, honestly, I approach fucking like everything about anything that I care about, think about, discuss, be it spirituality or politics or philosophy or STEM related subject matter or whatever, entertainment, film, art. Like I try to be as genuine as I can, because now I can. Now I'm able to. Like I'm not in that. I don't need to not be like I did in the past, because it would come with a lot of like sort of social ramifications and such, or parental or familial ramifications. Those are not really there anymore. So I try to engage with people as sincerely as I humanly can. I mean, I have my own biases and I whatever, but I can just I'll openly discuss them. That's the thing. And if anybody thinks I have a certain one, then I'll absolutely discuss it. Let's see here. I barely can fly this. All right, send me an email or something, Don. We gotta figure something out. We gotta talk about some of those cool ideas you keep bringing up, because you bring up a lot of stuff that I vibe with when it comes to like, hey, Zoids, what can help the Zoids type shit. Yeah. You gotta draw a reverse shell, hack the mainframe, escalate privileges to administrator, and then you can make a Discord account. No, you don't. You don't have to do any of that shit. Ignore active research and their shit posting. It is not that complicated. It is so easy. There are plenty of people that are older boomers that use it. Game, I can never say your thing. Just game chof. I have no idea. But anyway, I think there's some good advice in getting out there when you're ready for it. Thinking that going to anything and expecting to make it work is not, though. Some things just don't fit, but what does, it will require you to get involved and get things out. Yeah, no, for sure. But like getting out there IRL to a social event, I don't think that's going to help Zoids. Like I can explain if anybody asks further questions, but it's going to cause more harm than good. Now, if you put them in a position in which the environment is sort of safe for them to do that without the consequences that essentially cause them to you know, kind of end up like they did as they got older, then we can start talking. Right. That's there's baby steps. The schizoid quote unquote recovery, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, if you want to, like, you know, have less anhedonia or less evolution, the way to do that is to engage with the external world in a safe way in order to start taking slightly less safe risks, in order to start learning more about yourself, your identity, your values, and everything else. And then, you know, your sense of self sort of starts constructing and coming back. Pieces of it start coming back that got kind of abandoned since your childhood or your adolescent years, because that's usually when things go sour. Almost every fucking schizoid I've ever talked to tells me like, oh yeah, I barely remember what it was like when I was a kid, or I remember I think I was like, like I wasn't like this when I was a kid, but then I became like this, and I don't remember what it was like before this. I hear that all the fucking time. It's about getting that kid back, among other things. Let me see here. Yanks pushing hard on 60, tired and broke and aversive as hell. All right, man. All right. I've definitely had some incursions to typal territory myself. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Seize the night. Seize the night. That's carpe noctum, right? Carpe noctum. Seize the night. Let's see here. Also getting advice for people who think some things work for everyone and can't understand. Yeah, that's kind of why I say, like, hey, I have advice that might work for you, because I know, and I'm hoping other Zoids that, you know, like Don here, right, who has good advice often when it comes to this that I've seen, will do the same and be like, hey, Zoid, check this out. I understand where you're coming from. This might actually work for you, or some variation of it. But the problem is that, you know, Zoids being Zoids, they already kind of painted a broad brush on everything not working. Nothing works, and it never will, right? And look, I'm not saying, oh shit, like you gotta be like me. If you're not like me, you're not fucking fixed. You're not healed. No, that shit's stupid. That shit's stupid. You don't gotta be like me at all. You just take whatever steps you need to take, and you stop wherever you're most comfortable. And the goal is to make the Zoid feel like, you know what? On their own, they go, fuck it. I want to try it. Fuck it. I'm going to do this. Fuck it. I'm going to have a bad experience, but I'm not going to, like, not make it, like, the whole, like, spread it out to the whole fucking experience and any experience ever when it comes to that kind of shit, right? That, like, one of those steps I found with Zoids is, like, coming to terms with the fact that they're not as indifferent as they claim to be. Or, actually, no, not as they claim to be. That's a bad way to put it. As indifferent as they feel. Like, as indifferent, like that their inner workings have, like, a strong value system of some kind. And it's about reconnecting their emotions to that value system. It's not about, like, they just don't feel anything. Or they are indifferent. Schizoids are not indifferent. They feel indifferent. They feel empty, but they're not empty. They feel like they have no identity, but there is one. It just needs to be nurtured. And that's something that basically didn't happen for most of their life. Up until whatever point. Let's see here. I started attempting to socialize a little bit before the video, and I realized I don't completely hate hanging out with a small group of people in a BC. See, well, check this out. Why do you guys always have the fucking, like, how am I supposed to say these names? The EPO1TR? Foyter? I don't know what to do with that. But in any case, yeah, because in a small group in a VC, if the issues you're experiencing are actually schizoid issues, because I can't speak for anybody, but if they are, then yeah, something like that is easier because what? You're there for a reason. It's to play a video game. It's to discuss a specific thing. There's an exit. You can leave anytime. You can enter anytime, right? IRL socialization doesn't really have that option, or if you choose it, it usually comes with consequences. Right? It usually comes with consequences. So like example, if I am at said family social event and a person engages me about my shirt, and I'm like, yeah, I really like this shirt. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like if it was like a black metal band or whatever you're into, and I'm like, yeah, this is a great band, some good tracks. Do you like that music? And if they're like, nah, not really. But hey, how do you like the party? If I went, I'd rather not, and I turn around and walk away, that's a big problem, right? If you're in a VC on a server, you just go boom, boom. That's it. No problem to be had. In real life, it would be nice if you could just do that without somebody projecting all their insecurities onto you. You know, like if you just said, oh, I'm not really interested in talking about the party. I thought you wanted to talk about the band. Okay, have a nice day. Even that's going to be considered a problem. What a dick. Wow. What a self-centered dickhead. What a bitch. For all the ladies out there. What a bitch, what a cunt. Right? It's like, you approach me about something, but you use it as an excuse to engage with me interpersonally. I'm not here for that. I'm here I wanted to talk about the thing or something that we have a mutual interest in. I'm good. I'd rather not. Just walks away like a Chad, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, you could. Like, if somebody did that to me, I'd be perfectly fine. Like, tell me, guys, All right, for the Zoids out there, this is a Zoid check. I'm Zoid vibe checking you. I'm gonna Zoid vibe check you. All right, get ready. Get ready. Don't fail this test, or you're gonna lose your Zoid card. Okay, kidding. If somebody, no, if you went, well, you wouldn't likely, but if like say somebody just had a cool patch or a cool pin, or they say something kind of cool about something, I don't, whatever, and you say, wow, man, hey, that's good stuff. I like that thing. And they're like, yeah, cool. And then you say, do you also like other things like this? And they say, I'd rather not. And just go, have a nice day. Are you, how does that make you feel? I'm fine. I'd be like, cool. I refreshing. Thank you. Just didn't waste either of our time. Right? Like, it's like, awesome. Like, there you go. I don't see the issue. And if they say, oh yeah, let's discuss that further, that thing, I'd be like, that's cool too. And if they discuss it for a while, and then they say, I got other stuff I gotta do, cool chat, and they just walk away, I would be like, that was a cool chat. That's it. Okay. So, I'm just Zoid vibe checking you on that one. All right. If you're like, oh, I'd be so hurt. Or if you're thinking like, wow, that'd be really rude. Like, who do they think they are? Or if you're like, I mean, they could have been nicer about it, right? Maybe you're dealing with something else, man. I don't know. I mean, I didn't say that the person was like, hey, fuck you, don't talk to me, right? That's different. You appreciate their honesty, good. No internal struggle, no internal conflict about it. I would argue the Zoid would have very little to none whatsoever regarding something like that. If anything, I think a lot of Zoids like won't say something about somebody's cool thing because they're afraid that person will interpret that as like, I want to like be friends or something, or like I want more than just to discuss the thing that I mentioned. I think that would actually deter most schizoids from even starting such an attempt. But say they decided to, what they would probably like the reaction I said more than if the person was like, oh yeah, wow, you like it? Oh yeah, have you been to this store? Oh, it's really great. You should come with us or like, oh yeah, okay, cool. What are you doing here? Like who are you friends with here? Who do you know? Like, what's worse? I would say the second one's way worse. I would prefer I'd rather not. Be like, no thanks. Ooh. I'll take that one over that secondary possibility. Because when they do that, I can't say, no thanks. Have a nice day though. Because then it's a problem. Then it's a big problem. Well, they approached me and I started talking about something other than what they approached me about, and they said they didn't want to talk anymore. What an asshole. What a complete bitch. Yeah, I mean, there's only like, there's very few social dynamics that I care about. For me, it would probably be things like mutual respect, respecting each other's time, so respect still there, respecting each other's autonomy, you know, just stuff like that. Like, just respecting each other's, or no, how about this? No, not respecting. Respecting is weird. That's a weird word, a little gross. consideration for the other person's time, autonomy, and whatever. Consideration. I like that word. That's actually more suitable. Respect has like weird social hangups and things like that. Like, you better respect me. It's like, no, that's weird. I deserve respect. If you want respect, you earn it. I consider respect in my mind to be more like a higher degree of consideration and a higher degree of good faith due to the credibility that person's already sort of established. Right? Like, based on their own merit, their own efforts, what they've said and what their actions say about them, stuff like that. That's how I would say, like, if I say I respect somebody, I'm like referring to that. But that word has like, it's weird. I pick up on subtle mannerisms, gestures, expressions, very subtle stuff. I didn't used to, but I do now. Oh, I'm super good at it. I had to learn. Right? The only thing that sucks though, active, is that other people are good at that, but because a lot of like neurodivergent people, Zoids included, because of like the flat affect, or because like they might like furrow their face at something because they're thinking about it, or like make a face that's kind of weird. Other people that are sensitive to that stuff will interpret what you did with your face as like the thing they normally associate with that face that you made. And then there's a lot of assumptions that get made there. Like, for example, like people have like said something around me or brought up something and I go like this, and they just immediately attach something negative to it, when I'm just like it's more like a curious, oh, that brings up a new idea, oh, right, and stuff like that. It's annoying. Respect me for existing, right? Stupid. Yeah, the predator-prey dynamic doesn't fit my mindset. It's good if things click. It's fine if it doesn't. I don't even like that term being used on like just regular folk. Predator-prey, it's weird. It's kind of definition thing. Cop says respect me, but often means fear or submit to me. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, I really hate when respect means fear and submit to me. Yeah, it's not respect. They should be submit to me. That's different. People making assumptions is exactly why I don't care too much to worry about. Yeah, but that's the whole point, right? You interact with people that won't be making those assumptions or those same assumptions. They might make their own assumptions, but their assumptions will probably be assumptions that maybe you make or would make sense to you. That's kind of what I'm like referring to, right? And then like, and you can actually openly discuss those assumptions if they come up. You could say, are you making this assumption? And the other person could say, yes, I am making that assumption. Is that an incorrect assumption? That is an incorrect assumption. You're like, all right, correct me. Right. And that's correct. Oh no. Yeah, anytime respect comes up in my family, it feels more like control and submission. Yeah, people use it for that. That's gross. I don't even think that's what the word means. Like, it's just, I don't know how I got turned into that. And that's like a weird kind of that's like a very narcissistic like approach to the word respect. It's very like hierarchy weird based. Now I associate it with like I said, credibility, because of their actions or words, and how much, like I said, how much like credit I'm going to give that person in the future based on that. So yeah, and for me, my sense of respect is usually associated to having like a mutual kind of similar fundamental value system that they're principled, things like that. Like, I respect people that are oftentimes principled. People, there's a lot of there's traits anyway. Yeah, that's why there's a lot of words. That's why consideration sounds better to me. Yeah, that word it's like, I hold you in a high regard. How about that? Nah, that sounds weird too. I hold a high degree of consideration for this person. Like, I don't know how else you would word without using respect. I like that person. Like, I guess you could say that, but it's, I don't know. My family, you are being disrespectful by saying you want, need, matter. How dare you net erase yourself? Real, yeah. So, I don't know. I'm getting the vibe here that most of you, I guess, vibed with the video I put out. Because I got like 20 people here and nobody's like saying anything. We're not going to dogpile on you. I'm not going to just be like, hey, everybody, look at this fucking idiot. Like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be like, look at that. Look at this dumb fuck over here. Look at this dumb fuck over here. Like, I don't do that. Unless you just say some vile shit, then I might say that about you. If you call me stupid, I'm okay with that. Present your evidence. That's it. Present your evidence. You're stupid, angst. Present your evidence. You're wrong. Explain. Every fucking thing as it is a child was disrespectful. Keeping to myself and not talking was an example of disrespect. Yep. That's one of the common traumas for a lot of Zoids, especially too. Yep. Asking the wrong questions, disrespect. Not caring about something, disrespect. Losing interest, being bored, disrespect. Yeah. Respect your elders. Give grandpa a hug. It's like, but grandpa's mean. Grandpa smells and he's mean. If I wanted to give him a hug, I would. You don't got to tell me. Nah. Honor thy mother and father. Children are to be seen, not heard. All that shit. Yeah, it's pretty archaic shit. That's cultural too. I know a lot of you people in the East have to deal with that shit a lot still. It's like, you must care, you must respect your mother and father just because they're your mother and father. What a bullshit reason. What a bullshit reason. The only reason I would demand, or, you know, be inclined to tell my own children, like, hey, you need to be more respectful, is because I earned that shit. I cater, I do everything I can as a dad. Like, fucking build them up, support them, help them, you know, all that stuff. So when I say, if I told my daughter, hey, you need to be a little more respectful, in my mind, that means I got enough cred for you not to make all these assumptions about me, because you know better. You know what my motivations are. I've explained it. You know how much I care about you. You know that I'm not this magical petty person that you're creating in your head about why I'm saying you can't do this, or this is too dangerous, right? Or this is not a good idea, and I'm not going to allow this thing for the following reasons. No. Respect or consideration for your parents should be earned by your parents' actions and words. They need to earn it. If your parents are just vile crap people, then there's like cultural stuff like that. Like I've heard stories about you know, like on you know, I've heard stories in families where like the person is just like, they have a terrible father or mother. Like the person's just vile. They're just, ugh, God, abusive. And the family members will be like, oh no, well, you can't just not talk to your mother and father ever again. You have to call them on Christmas. It's like, wait a minute, you know what kind of person they are. What? It's like, but they're your dad, but they're your mom. So? Are you crazy? That's like indoctrination. That's like, you know, weird cultural indoctrination. It's insane. A kid that like loves his parents and or respects them or whatever because they earned it, is they don't even have to be told to do it. They're gonna do it. They're gonna hit up mom and dad. They're gonna do it. You don't gotta tell them. But anyway. And the next question, how the fuck do I retrain that belief? If being human and existing feels like a crime, how do you live? Feeling like a criminal forever. That's not stable. You need to grrg. I live 1 hour away from my parents. I never visit. Yeah, because you don't want to. Because, guess some things weren't great. I left home at 16 because of my... Oh, yeah, there you go. Stop, Don. Get him against the wall, you see. Yeah, disrespect equals not following family/group cultural doctrine. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because that cultural indoctrination, when it comes to that, that's a tough one to shake. Even Zoids can be bogged down by this feeling of shame, right? It's like sometimes the excuse or the reasoning I've heard from Zoids that like legitimately just not connected to their parents, and you know, especially if their parents were like abusive or unsupportive or just like not the best, they come up with the reasoning of like, well, they did give birth to me and feed me and kept me alive for 18 years. And I'm like, that's not a favor. That's their goddamn duty after deciding to make your ass. That's like that's like bare minimum. Like it should be, it's criminal to not do that. Right? So that reason is just crazy. I owe them. They didn't kill me. Nah. And if you're a situation where your parents are terrible and you're a NEET and you just put up with it because you don't want to go out into the world, you might want to start changing those priorities, because yeah, you're kind of in a position where you just gotta keep kowtowing because yeah, you're relying on them for money and resources. Yeah, you might want to change that one in whatever way you can reasonably work toward it, because God knows there's options. Just gotta find it. But to refrain deeply, 28 years of childhood, real evidence saying you exist equals wrong, not a repressing way. It's factual, like my name is X. How to retrain that? Usually with others. So you would retrain that by being around other people that actually don't treat you like that, and also don't engulf you, and they're just like, wow, you exist, and the things you say are just as valid as the things I say. And then maybe saying like, I feel like they're not because I have this problem, and then discussing it, especially with somebody that might have had that problem. You know, you create like a weird, not a weird, but like you create like a back and forth sort of support system there. Communication. It's almost like when what do they call it? Like in AA meetings where there's like the one other person in the group that like you're supposed to like check in on each other. Like, hey, you're not doing the bad thing, right? Oh no, are you? No. Yay! Like what is that called? What is that person supposed to, what's the name for that? I forgot what that is. Like two people that are cool, like they're fine around each other, but their main interaction is about like, you know, making sure or asking, checking in, like, hey, how are the, you know, if it's drug addiction or something, like how you dealing? Sponsor. There you go. Yeah. Sponsor. Yeah. Schizoid sponsor. Yeah, there you go. You know? It's like, hey buddy, feeling empty today? Remember, you're not. Or just work toward it. Yeah. You too, bud. You too. Accountability, buddy. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Because it's really one thing that for the Zoids that feel like they're like, oh, there's nothing there, right? They'll like talk to another Zoid that feels the same, and then the Zoid that says, the Zoid that, like, if you ask them about the other one, they'll be like, no, they're really chill person, and they have this or that, and it's interesting. And I'd be like, would you say there's nothing there? And they'd be like, no, not about them. I can't say that about them. Like, well, why can't you say that about yourself? And then they'll do the opposite. They'll say there's something there too. So they both see something in the other, but neither sees anything in themselves. That's confusing, everybody. You have to rewrite a personal narrative, one concept at a time. Use your illusion. You're gonna be Doctor Strange and shit about it. But that wouldn't really work, because schizoid need independent first, then safety. Well, no, independence is safety. What do you mean? Like, that's what Zoids use to feel safe. They use self-sufficiency, independence. I don't need nobody. I got this. It's better this way. It's more efficient. It's less problematic. It's less consequences. It's better for other people in the long run. You know, a lot of that kind of reasoning is what drives the independence forward, usually. I don't want to rely on anybody. I don't want there to be strings attached to my actions. I want my actions to only be my own. And because tying your actions to other people comes with things that I feel are unrewarding, or responsibilities or obligations that I don't want to meet because I'm not imposing upon them, nor do I want to. But yet, you know, there's normative impositions being placed on me and shit like that. And that society backs it up, so that if I, you know, say I don't want to do it, then there's people surrounding them that will essentially say, oh, well, you have to because that's what's normal and shit like that. So, you know. My parents were simultaneously uninvolved yet overbearing. It led me to feeling like I'm being watched 24/7, and that when under severe stress, they'd actually in my head monitoring my thoughts. Raymond, so I know what you're talking about with that one. That's like when the parents are really micromanaging and really like involved in your life and your actions, but they're not actually attempting to understand anything about you. They're not trying to nurture anything about you as an individual, and they're not trying to understand you as an individual. They're just trying to make sure you live and behave and experience things in the way that they perceive you should. That's usually when you have that involvement, right? Like somebody that's really involved in their kid's school, really involved in making sure their kids in extracurricular activities, really involved in this, really involved in that. Yeah, like helicopter parenting, but without the actual like making the attempt to understand the value system, the identity, the constructing identity of the individual. Yeah, that's the same thing as being like neglectful. It's just emotionally and like sort of cognitively neglectful. It's especially easy for a parent that already has those kind of traits to do it to a neurodivergent kid. Like, it's even easier, so much easier to like cause that level of neglect that's traumatic. Easy mode, because they have cultural and social normative stuff to back up their ability to neglect it or ignore it or dismiss it. Yeah. So it's kind of like if I would ask a question, right? Like I brought up this example many times. I know a lot of autists and schizo kids had this issue, which was you would go, if you were a part of some culture or a religion, let's just say religion, and you want to go to a church or a temple or whatever, and you start questioning things there because they don't make sense to you. Those questions are going to be ignored, dismissed, and whatever. And they feel justified in doing so because they have like a community-based sort of cultural normative rationalization for why you shouldn't even be asking those questions. And the reasons you're asking them are not to be disrespectful or to be, you know, edgy or to be like to bother them. It's because you're legitimately wondering and don't understand. And so then they get extra backup for being neglectful and dismissive of your emotions and thoughts and concerns, because it's like socially upheld by sort of like their kind of like neurotypical oftentimes notions, ideas, preoccupations and shit. Yeah, like it's like, oh well, you can't ask that. Why? Hey everybody, they can't ask that, right? They don't literally say that, but you know what I mean. They're like, yeah, they can't ask that. It's like, yeah, see, you can't ask that, be quiet. They feel that support. Right. Now, if they ask a question that other people in their community or culture or whatever would say, hey, that's a question you should be able to answer, that's important to the child's needs. Right. If that's what like the average person feels or expresses about that, then they have a harder time neglecting or dismissing it, right? Because it's like a normative sort of expectation that is placed upon parental figures, that the average person says that's a thing that you should be able to talk about, or you should allow your child to question, or you should not just dismiss as like a childish notion or a silly concern, right? I mean, they're getting better at it, like as far as child psychology and shit like that. It's getting a little bit better. It hasn't really caught up to the neurodivergent kids very well, but luckily in some places it kind of has a little bit. But yeah, like if my daughter said, I'm legitimately worried that you know, my littlest one, she turns like she just turned 6, but if she's like 7, 8, she's telling me I'm like really scared that there's like aliens in the sky and there's lights in the sky and they're gonna get me or something, and I have like dreams about it and stuff. Like I'm gonna be like, it's all in your head, don't think about those things, that's never gonna happen. Let's go outside. Look, you see any aliens? Come on. Like, you know? Right? That's not gonna help. I'm not gonna do that. And be like, I would want to get to the bottom where these thoughts are coming from, where these concerns are coming from. And then explain in a way that makes sense to them, that they could rationalize and they could kind of absorb and learn from an angle that makes sense to them, so that I could alleviate that concern, alleviate that fear. All right. And I've had to do that. Like one thing that helped my littlest with like nightmares and stuff was like, she would tell me like she would have scary dreams about like something scary or a monster or something. Oh, there's my little one. She's going to bed. Hold on. Sorry, that was my little one. She always comes in. That's like normal. That impression is funny as fuck. Which impression? Oh, about like what I said about the. Yeah, there's nothing up there. What, you stupid? You know, like. But No, like with the like monster thing with my little girl, like I don't know why she's having these dreams. She can't explain the stuff, right? I don't know if she's gonna be all ADHD or a little schizo like me. I don't know her reason, but so I approach it like more holistically about her. Like, what's scary about the monster? What do you think is gonna happen? Do you know it's a dream? Do you know what a dream is? Like, and stuff like that, you know? Asking little questions to alleviate little fears and concerns and make little connections. And then I said, like, well, if a dream is made up stuff, then maybe before you go to bed, you should think about how, like, you should think about things that can protect you from scary things. And, you know, like, she likes Super Mario and the Ninja Turtles. And I'd be like, well, they can help. Why don't you think about them a lot? Right? Because, you know, in your imagination, in your dreams, almost anything could happen. And so if you think some scary thing, you better try to go to bed thinking about things that make you feel safe, happy, and cozy. What about me? Daddy's a bigger monster than them anyway. Remember that. Yeah. She always called me king of the monsters. Because I told her, like, I think she said something about, like, you know, like monsters, you know, trying to eat kids or something. Like, she's scared. It's like, what if there's monsters? I'm like, well, I eat monsters. So when I have dreams, I'm eating monsters because I'm trying to stop them from eating kids in the dreams. It's all pretend. They don't want to mess with me. Not in the dream world. And in the real world, there ain't no monsters. So you just got to worry about them in the dream world. Nowhere else. Can't get you here. In my head, I just, like, in the darkest parts of my mind, I go, except for the human monsters. You know, like, that's the way it goes through my mind. Maybe there's no monsters. Monsters aren't real. Not at all. Turns on the news. Not at all. Right. Independence is also a trap. My sponsor wanted me to do X, so I did X. That's connection, but death of autonomy. That's not death of autonomy. If you are actively consenting to something, then it's not really fucking with your autonomy because you're consenting to it. Like, there's a bunch of stuff that technically fucks with your autonomy. Like, are you law abiding for the most part? I don't know. Like, maybe there's some times where there's some laws where you're like, that's stupid, I want to break them, but you don't. Right? Still kind of like a way, because you don't want the consequences, maybe. I don't know. But guys, that's a really weird example, actually. But I mean, just when you're consenting to a mutual understanding, then it's not really autonomy giving away or whatever, because you're consenting to that contract between you and the other person when you're talking about, like, a sponsor or something. That's because you're actively trying to have something in check that you know you have trouble dealing with. I don't know. I don't see it as the same thing. Well, yeah, independence is needed. Yeah, but, like, oh, I see what you're saying. I mixed it up. But point is, like, yeah, but Zoid's got enough independence, man. Like, I know that's, like, step one, like, but that's just creating a safety bubble, right? When somebody, like, makes a safe space for them, I personally consider safe spaces to be places where you can experiment with unsafe things that are, like, helpful toward exposure of the smallest kind in order to make, like, some kind of progress at the rate that you want to make it, if you decide to make it. That's all I believe, like, a safe space should be for. It should not be to, like, permanently hide from things or avoid avoid everything that makes you uncomfortable or bad or what have you. If everything makes you uncomfortable or aversive to way too many things to the point where you're just a fucking hermit, then maybe, unless you're really content with that life, maybe it's time to make some challenging choices about where you're going to poke and prod regarding yourself and your interaction with the external world. Sponsor just asked, are you still alive? No, that's not fucking with your autonomy. I mean, did you agree to have a sponsor? Are you required to have one? I don't know what it's like in Australia. And I don't know what the consequences of ignoring your sponsor are in some situations. Maybe it'll be even more autonomy stripping, because they're gonna like do something else, or maybe it's like a some kind of thing, your probation, because like, I don't know. Progress is a giant wall. That is not progress. That is not in my opinion. I mean, it can be if it allows you to more safely do things that you normally wouldn't in order to grow. Maybe. I don't know. The real question is, what do they represent in the dream world? The unconscious doesn't speak plainly and kind of Socratic like us, but it ain't wrong. No, yeah, I know. Yeah, for sure. That's absolutely valid. I'm not gonna talk to my my 6-year-old about that, but yeah, if it becomes a concern as they get older, then absolutely, let's go. Yeah, but I guess Trudy would depend on like what a sponsor means. Like if it's a state sponsor, are you getting benefits? Are they like taking care of you somehow? I guess it's like a trade or exchange at that point, right? If not, maybe that sounds a lot more poopy. Oh, you were joking. Oh, I don't know. How am I supposed to know? All right, guys, I'm done. I'm tired. So nobody had questions. Nobody had problems with it. And if you did, you didn't say shit. So I'm just going to take that as everything's fine. And that most of the Zoids that saw it agree that, yeah, they need to get off their fucking ass once in a while. And also, just to clarify stuff, I am not saying that they should move at some pace, arbitrary pace that I deem correct. I'm not saying they should do anything for that matter. I'm saying that doing something is what I perceive to be what is best for, well, any human, including them. I think it's good. Because if overcoming challenges comes with that a reward of like being more connected to your sense of self, being more connected to the external world in a way that makes sense to you, that is rewarding to you, right? Finding how that can function, finding how you can do that shit, finding that stuff in your individual way, right? I think that's pretty much a good thing for most people. Well, there you go, Joe Mama. Yeah, I know that very much. Since, you know, I very much met you when you were not anywhere near that point. Joe Mama. But yeah, and that's kind of what I meant too about the server. I created a spot along with the mods and all the people, and it was a lot of push and pull, a lot of trial and error, a lot of this, a lot of that. And, you know, it's just about creating a spot where people can interact in a way that feels safer. Because especially due to some of the rules and stuff we have in place there, that are kind of catered to and unique to creating a more supportive space of people with these particular issues. Not everybody's issues, but these particular issues. And I think it's healthy and a good idea for Zoids to take advantage of that. Take advantage of those opportunities, those offers, those possibilities. And that includes here in this chat, or in the comments section, or on the server, or whatever. Try it. And what's funny is that, like, I saw a comment out there. I don't know who they are, but I saw a comment saying, like, oh, man, I went in there and I said my unconventional ideas, and they said you're bad mans, and they made me leave. It's like, man, like, I'll tell you right now, when people have unconventional beliefs and we, you know, jail or ban them from the server, it's because their unconventional beliefs are usually like, what's the word? Disregard things like autonomy or consideration of other people's time, or you know, shit like that. It's like, or things that are like, or beliefs that like are legitimately like destructive, that, you know, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like shit like that. Your vids help understand myself so much, and even push me towards therapy. Cool, XLL. Good to hear. And hopefully you find a psychologist or therapist that will engage with you regarding the shit that's really going on in there, without assigning ideas to why you're doing it that aren't congruent with your experience. Because that's what happens a lot with the Zoids that go to therapy, and why it ends up failing so miserably for them. You want to talk to like a psych. I don't personally suggest a licensed no hate for LCSWs, but most LCSWs, licensed clinical social workers, are not going to be able to get to that level of nitty gritty that a Zoid might need. Right? Like, I honestly think the best kind of psych for a Zoid is the kind of psych that's it is invested in their field and like to talk about psychology itself, right? Because I think for the Zoid, that's like one of the things that's helpful, is to kind of talk about psychology itself with a person that is invested in that topic and also practices it, and then discussing it in association with their own experiences and what clicks and doesn't click. Like, that's what worked for me with my psych, because that's what she allowed, and that's what we did, and that shit fucking helped. Step 1, you need a therapist that's polite furniture that will let you not talk for the first 5 to 10 sessions. Polite furniture would be, well, I think I know what you're saying. Well, I was going to say something to that person that said, oh yeah, well, I don't know, whatever. Well, anyway, if I wasn't already 50 and fucked up, I'd love to become a psychologist. Hey, you know what? You could always be remember, that's what I am. I'm a schizoid life coach, folks. I don't have a fucking degree. The only degree I have is a master's in history. Oh, look good that did me. But point is, I offer that. If somebody doesn't mind, and I try not to charge some crazy amount, but if somebody doesn't mind paying $30 an hour to just talk and discuss one-on-one with me, whatever it is they're concerned about through this lens, that I feel has been really helpful, I'll do it. And the only reason I even charge that much is because I live in Cali. But hey, Trudy, maybe you could be a freaking, like, you can help other people with DID. There you go. That's what I'm saying. Like, maybe because of your kind of like approach, and you're much healthier in like the many positive ways you've like dealt with shit that's horrendous Trudy. You know, maybe people with similar types of trauma, CPTSD and DID like you can but somebody like yourself that, you know, has kind of come to terms with a lot of that stuff and work through it and understand it. Maybe you could help other people like that too, that are in much less functional shape, that have similar problems. DID's full on. Damn. Yeah, I know, it's pretty bad. That's like, yeah, you'd have to be a dedicated person to that person. And yeah, I know what you mean. That's pretty, yeah, it's a rough one. There you go. Well, just do that. Maybe you should focus on that. People with CPTSD like you. And then maybe you could do some coaching shit, or people that are around your age or a little older and never went to or conventional therapy didn't work for them, and they need somebody to talk to that gets it, and shit like that. You know, hey, you never know. That'd be an interesting thing to do. But anyway, if you guys like my videos, if you like my streams, I'm currently working 50 hours a week, so I've just been super busy. I'm just trying to catch up on all the bills and credit cards because of the months I didn't have work or had a very, very shit job. And like I said, this ain't a money maker, folks. Not a big money maker. But that's not to say I don't appreciate the kind donations from people that do so. I very much appreciate that. But yeah. But anyway, if my shit's useful to you, throw me a DM, send me an email, leave a comment. If you hate me and think I'm stupid and I'm wrong, you can do the same thing. I'll be fine. If it's constructive, I might engage with it. If it's just annoying and dumb, then I'll just ignore it, not care. And if you've been a long time watcher and you're like, wow, this guy is cool and helpful and whatever, tell me. And maybe think about joining the old Patreon, or I got my PayPal and all that dumb shit down there. Oh, and for the gamers, if you look, it should still be in the description. I don't even know, or in one of my videos. I have my Steam profile there, so if you want to look at my gaming, you could see what I'm about. You could look at what I'm about when it comes to gaming. So I'm about a lot of weird shit. All right, guys. Peace out. And see you on the server, maybe. Chatting it up with the others. If you feel like it. If you decide not to lurk so much. And no, we will not kick you out for idiosyncratic beliefs unless those idiosyncratic beliefs run very, very contrary to schizoid support or somebody that's actually dealing with that, or you decide to, drop the JQ or statistics and shit like that on there. Yeah, there's plenty of other servers for that kind of fucking stuff. Whatever. Anyway, peace out. And as usual, when day is dark, always remember, happy day. But also get mad when you deem it's necessary.